On December 31st, a group of us got together and tried to put a pitch. Everyone was joined together from different forces, different people in the writing world. We were given a task: go into a group, form a good bond in less than 10 or 15 minutes, and come up with a pitch. So our group was tasked with getting 3 words and putting them together. Our words were rival, snobbish, and persistent. And one of the members was from New Orleans, so we thought it would be cool to have the setting in New Orleans. We were laying down the bedrock of what would be our pitch. So we had the location. We didn't have our theme or the wound that would have made this a really good pitch. And you also need, not only that, according to Russell Peters, he's a teacher in LA, and he looks at the 9 questions he likes to ask people who are pitching their TV shows. And one of them is, give us a great world. I gave them, with our team, the world of New Orleans. We didn't specifically say New Orleans, and he said, you can give New York, but you have to focus on a specific world. So the city doesn't matter, but don't just say carte blanche New York. You have to say a very specific world of that area. He used billions, and he said even though it's set in New York, the show is about billionaires and how they rival each other, how they fight each other, how they try to maintain their billions. And he really looked at another show called Atlanta. Look at that world. It's a very cool middle-class world with this kind of slacker who built a world around himself. He was enrolled in an Ivy League school and dropped out and just decided to chill and get his life reorganized. And it's really cool because they have a cool world in Atlanta. And he was explaining to Russell Peters to give us this cool world. How can I use Russell Peters' questions and incorporate it with this pitch? At the moment, I couldn't do it. Now, this is our pitch. 2 rival brothers with a love for music inherit the family restaurant, and both fall in love with a snobbish food critic persistent to close them down. Now, this was my pitch. I said it in New Orleans, and they said, okay, tell us more. So the pitch was done. There's 2 brothers. One is a food guy, one is a music guy. The music guy is trying to bring in the college crowd. I didn't go in strong focus. I had 7 minutes to do this, and I can only come up with, he came from somewhere with music, and he was trying to connect, and I kind of hinted he might be a DJ instead of a trumpet player. And I thought maybe focusing on the traditional music, it resonates with a lot of people. The other brother was a more solid grounding. He has a fusion background, and he went to Europe. One of the judges told me I need to pitch what I know, and you got to have a personal connection, and this is important. How is your story connected with your life, reflective of your life? And this is important in a pitch. I didn't do it. I thought I could pitch what we had, and I couldn't do everything quickly. The judges were, as you can see here, very sympathetic to me being tossed in there with the 3 words, trying to pitch. We did come up with a log line, but when asked for more, I couldn't do it. So let's see what they have.
Let's see. This one, okay. This one, it's tough. Ron had to come up, like, they just pulled him out of the crowd, kind of, and to go pitch our thing, and that's super hard. So you get points for that. I wasn't sure about the story, but it reminded me of like Cain and Abel, and kind of hentified it a little bit. And then like here's just a little thing, like it's called Sounds of Jambalaya, but you talked about gumbo, and gumbo is a stew, and jambalaya is a rice dish. So you know, if you're gonna drop knowledge, like you gotta know what you're doing. So, and I don't even know how to cook, so that's bad. But you had to come in there and just like make shit up. Yeah, the European gumbo thing confused me, but it's like, okay, it's a fusion-y thing. the music thing felt a little bit tacked on. Like, it was just because everything here is tacked on. Like, you're just trying to make gumbo out of this shit. But yeah, I think it was like good energy, very like Rania, very good energy, very friendly energy. And I think if you were better prepared, I think you would have just crushed it super harder, much harder. So yeah, but I mean, you got it. So those are all four. And the winner is clearly Group Batman. You know, you like hands down the best pitch of all of them. Everyone did great. It's not easy to pitch. It's not always, you know, fun. But it coming in with a personal story, you know, you got the log line, you had, you know, all the things in place that you need to have an effective pitch. And actually, it's a great idea for a show. So I feel like that could be an act. So maybe your room should, you know, I don't know, go make it, go pitch it. So yeah, that's congratulations to Peter and company. Who's in group 2 so we can recognize all of them?
Yeah, raise your hand if you're in group Batman and don't lie.
I'll remember.
What are you passionate about? And that's how you connect to the story. If you don't have a personal story, there's no way you're gonna win over the people who you're pitching to. So what am I passionate about? I am passionate about food. I'm in Asia. So if I go back, this would be a kind of situation I'd have to face. How do I readjust? So the two brothers are coming back to hear about the father who left in the restaurant, but it's under the condition that they stay open and work together. And the problem is, one brother has a passion for food, so he just wants to have a restaurant. Very clear. He has a fusion idea from Asia. I was hoping he can bring that Asian fusion to New Orleans and just give it something a little bit different that no other restaurant has for his time spent in Asia. The other brother has a passion for music, and New Orleans is known for music, jazz music, and this brother has a passion for that. And I have a passion for music since I sang in a choir and performed on some music videos playing the trombone. Doesn't matter if it did millions, it's just I have a passion to tell that story. And those two worlds together I think are excellent for me to pitch this story. So we have the two brothers together. So my passion is telling the story from experiences I've had overseas and music and restaurant experience together. Now the theme can be really simple. Can money and success bring you your family together or bring you happiness? And this is a theme that they're gonna try to deal with together. And the brothers are gonna look at trying to get ahead in the worlds that they know, but by themselves they can't do it, and getting together they can do it. And as they're getting together, a wedge comes in there, and that's where the snobbish critic comes up. She's coming to the restaurant, and it turned out her and the trumpet player had an overseas liaison, and she was a different person, he was a different person, but now they're back in a different city. She has to maintain this I guess armor of her food criticism armor, so everyone thinks that she's a really good critic, but she really fell hard for this guy who didn't want to continue the relationship. And this is going to be the wedge between the two brothers and stop them from uniting. Brother does know his food, and the trumpet player may have been trying to hire everyone but his brother, but realizes nothing is thicker than blood. And this is going to be also a theme in the story again, where you're trying to find success, but will it bring your family together? And they seem to have their egos, their deep wounds, as something that's going to be at the core. And they use the example from Mad Men, where Don Draper can meet all kinds of ladies, but when the relationship's going to start, he walks away because he never thinks he can be loved. In this story, the younger brother is not going to think he was good enough for the business because the older brother was picked to run the restaurant even though he had the passion for it. So this is going to be a wound inside of him that he's not good enough in his father's eyes, even though he's now working towards that goal of getting the restaurant successful. We can bring in the family relatives who are going to shift the power back and forth and try to challenge their ownership of the restaurant. But I think the core will be the brothers trying to make this restaurant work to stay afloat. And every week we're going to grapple with the music brothers ahead, the restaurant brothers ahead, and who's going to win, how are they going to fight each other, and then how are they going to get along to save this restaurant. Now that would be my pitch. And I think with a theme, identifying the world, the parents of the show I could see easily as some other African American shows like Power, or they dealt with family dynamics. And I think there's just a lot of shows like that that do have that power dynamic, not in the world of the rich, but the world of fast jazz music and beautiful, gorgeous food world coming together and bringing off that Asian vibe, because a lot of Asian fusion is coming into this restaurant, and there's going to be arguments and fights. This isn't New Orleans traditional food and so forth. But I think this kind of story with a lot of passion is going to be the same story that I would tell from my heart, because I was in Asia and I am in Asia and I have a passion for music. So if those two worlds were separate, trying to come together, and both of them wanted to be the alpha male, I think it would be a very dramatic show. And it's not going to be exactly a comedy show, but I could see comedy aspects of it. But we are going to see the heart and soul of trying to run a restaurant, the heart and soul of trying to push music into your venue. When you can't exist alone, you have to work together, but the person you're trying to exist with is trying to be your boss while you're trying to be their boss. And that would be my pitch. The story title would be called Music of Jambalaya, and I think that will add to the food and the music of New Orleans, and that would be our pitch. And our group was called the Ant-Man, and I'm Ron Reed. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.